Well, here we are in January, and it's been pretty cold. Cold in South Florida is different from cold in, say, Canada, but still, cold is cold, and cold can affect mangoes. Basically, right now we have a lot of flowers on almost all of our mango trees. It's been a great season for bloom. And so if you have a lot of bloom on your tree, you might be thinking, what's going to happen with this cold weather? Now, in our part of the state, we are not expecting temperatures to get below 40 this year. It's been, we've had cool weather, but it's been not out of the ordinary. We've gotten a lot of rain also, but that's not a bad thing for the flowers either. But if you live north of here, you might get temperatures below 40, and that can be dangerous to your flowers. So if possible, try to protect your plants from the cold. There are things like blankets which do protect the trunks of the trees, and some people actually build sort of temporary structures out of PVC and put a tarp over it and put a heat source on the ground. So different things that you can do. We've got a few videos that we will link in the description that might help also. But in South Florida, we're having a fairly normal winter. North Florida is another story. Tallahassee, for instance, got snow. So depending on where you live and how the weather currents have acted this year, you might be getting unusually cold weather. So do what you can to protect your plants. The two things that you can do in advance of cold is, in advance of cold, you can put gypsum and things like K-Mag in the ground, anything that has minerals that the plant can absorb, the tree can withstand cooler temperatures, the more minerals it has. Also, what you can do right before the cold hits, you don't have to do it well in advance because it's most effective shortly before the cold weather arrives, and that is water your trees. Water them well if they're in the ground. You really don't want to overwater potted plants, but the potted plants have the advantage of you can actually take them to a warmer area. But your in-ground trees benefit from minerals, especially calcium in this area in the form of gypsum, but all minerals will help them withstand colder temperatures. So basically, South Florida seems to be safe from the cold weather, but if you live in an area that is going to get colder weather this year, colder than normal, you probably would benefit from going out and getting some types of cold protection for your trees. I have mentioned the blankets that will protect your plants from a few degrees colder weather than normal, but then after that you can try to erect a structure, and it can just be a temporary one. You don't have to glue the joints of the PVC or anything like that. Put something over a tarp or something over the structure and a heat source on the ground, and that should help your plant survive. So here we have just a lot of nice healthy bloom. It's fresh, and so it's looking extra gorgeous. The bloom that happened a little bit earlier than this is actually not looking as good as the fresher bloom. It's just one of those things. The early stage of a flower or a flower spike is just going to look really gorgeous and healthy and full. But of course, this is a crazy amount of potential fruit that is on this panicle. The tree cannot support it all, and as it's not supporting some of the stuff, the little flowers that are on there, they will start to crumble and turn brown and fall off. Here's some right here that we've got a little bit of brown going on. But that is perfectly normal. We do have some effects of rain. We've had a few rather wet days, and so that can sort of make the bloom look icky. It usually doesn't destroy the whole bloom. What is a problem for us a lot of years, and to some extent this year, is the wind. And the wind can really wreak havoc on bloom. Usually it's on one side of the tree, and because of the wind coming from predominantly one direction. So you lose some bloom, some potential fruit, but not a deal killer. We have been really lucky in not having freezing temperatures in South Florida for a few years, and so we're hoping that this turns out to be a good mango year for us, and of course we hope it is a good mango year for all of you. So one question that we've been getting is, what can I do about my flowers that are definitely not made it through cold weather? A lot of people think that there's some sort of magic elixir or something that you can do to make those flowers reappear. No, once they're dead, and they will fall off the panicle, and it doesn't look great. It doesn't look terrible, but you usually have green leaves, and then these beautiful panicles of flowers just sort of shrivel up and drop off. But there is a good side to this. If that happens to you, there's nothing that you can do with the flowers that got affected, but the cold weather that might have been the problem for those flowers that were on your tree could actually inspire another bloom on your tree. So try not to worry and just cross your fingers and hope that you get a good second bloom. So for us, we have a lot of trees that looks like every branch tip has got flowers on it. But there are some that actually don't have flowers yet. Here we have, this is actually a seedling. I didn't top work it at all. This branch tip doesn't have a flower, but this one does, so that's sort of fun. This is all grafted tree right in here. This is Valencia Pride, and look at all the branch tips that do not have flowers. So probably the cold that we're getting now is going to trigger some flowers on these branches that don't have them right now. And this is the last thing I'll mention. Here, there's just a lot of mangoes right here, a lot of mango trees. And almost all of them have been top worked. So there should be flowers all over the place, but there aren't. We've got little clusters here and there, but this should not be a problem. The weather just seems really good for, inspiring more bloom. This particular area might be more protected from the cold than other areas, and so it didn't fully bloom with the first cold snap. And it looks like we've got some flower buds that are emerging, and so hoping to have a good year for this group of plants also. So we've had some cold weather, and we're going to have a little bit more cold weather, and that's good news for the flowers, but it can be bad for flowers and young fruit if it gets below 40 degrees. Fortunately, in this area, we're looking good, but we hope that wherever you are, that your plants enjoy temperatures above 40 degrees and that your plants and you stay warm.